Hello everyone and welcome. So in this video I'm going to be talking about the starting process of me learning how to use oils. So I should start by saying I bought these oil paints a while ago back when I was in high school, and I kind of learned how to use them then, but at that point in time I didn't watch any tutorials or any lessons on how to use oils, so I kind of just jumped in and tried to figure it out as I went. And that wasn't very productive at all. So I kind of put them away for a while and decided to use them again later. But the most valuable thing that I learned from doing that was that I really enjoyed the medium, and I definitely wanted to paint with it in the future. Every time I put down a medium, like in the past, it's usually not because I no longer like that medium and don't want to use it. It's actually because I feel as though my drawing skills were inferior or not good enough to bring out the magnificence of the medium that I was using. So I wanted to refocus on my drawing skills to make sure that I could make beautiful artwork to then use the medium on. So anyways, to begin learning oils, I actually didn't start with this portrait. I actually started with some smaller studies. I did some grapes, a cupcake, and a hand holding an apple, and then I decided to try doing this portrait. Also, the pans after some shots or so is because that's what I was able to achieve within that night. This took me, I think, like 3 nights to get it to the place that it is in the end. And this is actually a color study portrait, so I'm actually just doing the underpainting here, and I will apply color to it later. I was very worried about doing the hair. I really had no idea how to do it because the portrait that I'm referencing is in black and white, and so most of her hair is black and you can't really see a lot of texture or anything. So I was really just figuring it out as I went and trying to make my best guess. I think one of the hardest parts about oil painting for me is actually filling in the whole of the space, because I'm so used to watercolor painting that I'm used to leaving some space on the paper for white, but with oil painting you don't do that, you fill in everything. So I think that's the part that I find kind of challenging. So then once I was done with some black and white studies, I decided to take out my colors and the brushes that I'd need in order to do some color studies. So I decided to use only a 3 primary palette. So I decided to pull out my warms, my cools, and then some paints that I would use for CMYK palette. And I also picked up this tiny palette at my favorite art shop, so it could sit on my desk and I could paint at my desk. And then I also grabbed burnt umber and an alternate quinacridone color to use as an alternate, and also to practice skin tones and hair. So these are the small studies that I was talking about earlier. All of these are being done on Canson canvas paper, which I think makes for great practice because I don't want to use an actual canvas for this kind of stuff. I'm just practicing, just learning, so I don't need anything super high quality, and I really don't want to use anything super high quality. So because I don't have a lot of canvas paper left, I decided to flip over the one that I've been using my studies for and use the back of it as a page for my color wheel. So for this page, I decided to start with the warm colors, and what I do in order to make a color wheel is I will put down the original colors in one section and then slowly add in the color that I'm going towards. So like I'll slowly add in a little bit of yellow to red and then just paint the swatches as they go towards yellow, so this way they get more yellow as they go towards yellow. And personally, I think that's the best way to do swatches, because I feel you get to see the best increments of color. And the reason I decided to split these pages in half and make these color wheels so crammed is half because of a space issue. Like I wanted to give myself as much space as possible to experiment and test some things. So I know my wheels look really wonky. I don't even think you can actually call them wheels, but they work and they get the job done, so I'm happy with them, you know? And then at the bottom there, what I did was I took the complementary colors, mixed them together, and swatched them out to see what I would get. What I found out by doing this is that the CMYK palette, minus the K, is sort of my favorite in some ways. It's certainly the brightest. This is usually how I do my swatches. I always have things organized and labeled and written down some notes because I like things organized that way, and because I can't recall everything that I did while I was doing these swatches, so I like to make notes. So here I drew a small illustration of a skull and some mushrooms with flowers in a night scene, as I imagine. And the reason I decided to do this was because the whole point of me learning to use oils is that I want to use the paint to make illustration scenes that I imagine. So I decided to make just a small, low consequence illustration and paint it and see what happens. Now I decided to split the page in half because, again, space, I don't have a lot of canvas paper, and also because I wanted these paintings to be small so I could get them done fairly quickly, and so I could learn more from a small piece. So here I'm just taking my ruler and defining the line that I made in order to split the paper. And at first I try to split the paper like how I split my watercolor paper, which is to fold it in half and then back and forth and rip it apart in the middle. But I was very unsure about this method because I was pretty sure that I did not half this correctly by eyeballing it, and I was right, so I was very careful here to make sure that I didn't crease the paper until I knew for sure that it was going to land properly, and it most certainly did not. So I just decided to take my scissors and cut it off. The videos I've been watching to learn about oil painting have mostly been from the Paint Coach. He makes great tutorial videos and informational videos about oil painting. So if you're looking to learn how to oil paint like myself, I seriously recommend his content. He's a very, very good teacher and very clear about how to do things. I had to watch a lot of videos before I even attempted to start. Another reason I decided to cut the two pieces away from each other is because the second idea I had for a small whimsical painting study that I could do was something to be done in a portrait and not a landscape like the skull and mushrooms. So my idea for a small illustration oil study was a mouse on a mushroom. And for this one, I actually decided I'm not going to do an underpainting. I'm just going to go straight in with color and see what happens. With the skull and mushrooms, though, I am going to do an underpainting and then go to color and see what happens. So a lot of this is trial and error. A lot of it is still learning. And then I just decided to show some of the process of me drawing that mouse on a mushroom. For some reason, though, this night I was really struggling to draw. I remember that. So this took a little bit longer than it actually should have. But in the end, I think it turned out really cute. And I can't wait to get painting it. So yeah, that's kind of it for this video. I know it was kind of short and kind of not a lot happened, and I'm sorry about that. But I hope you still enjoyed it, and if you're feeling insecure about trying a new medium, I hope this encourages you to try. Remember, you don't have to be perfect at it when you first start it, and it's okay to do as many trial and errors as possible. Okay, so that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Please remember to like and subscribe, and if you could share the video with other people who like art, I would really, really appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. Bye.